Hello and welcome to this live stream. My name is Bård and I have with me Daria from the developer experience team here at Crystallize.
Hi.
Today, as you can see, we will be talking about Astro and how you can build an e-commerce storefront using Astro. The scoping is basically Astro with Tailwind for styling and Crystallize for the e-commerce backend. And we will go through the full round trip of how you can manage and create products in Crystallize. Of course, then fetching them in Astro, rendering obviously with Astro and Tailwind, and then how you can add to cart and place the order finally and see the actual order created in Crystallize. But maybe we can start, Daria, with a quick demo of the boilerplate.
Yep. So this is the product page of the boilerplate. Most of you already might have seen this before because we have this series of minimal boilerplates that previously we did with Svelte and also Remix. So it's just a minimal boilerplate that does not contain a lot of pages. There's a front page and individual product pages, a cart page, checkout, and an order confirmation. That's pretty much it. So this is the product page. All the data is being fetched from Crystallize, obviously. So we have some information about the product itself, some storytelling here, ingredients, and then we have what we call item relations in Crystallize.
Yeah, so all the donuts you might be interested in purchasing.
Yep. And these are different variants, so you can switch between them. And obviously they have different prices.
Yeah.
Yep. So I can add this product to cart, and then I can go to cart. So this is the cart page, which basically just shows whatever is in your cart, and then you go to the checkout. So this is using, the checkout is using a dummy payment method right now because we wanted to not make it too complex. So all it's going to do when I click pay now is create an order in Crystallize.
Yeah. And of course, for payment integrations, you can also check out the other boilerplates that we have here. And we have a fully featured Next.js and Remix boilerplate with all the middleware or the plumbing, including quite a few payment integrations there. So you can see how that is done there. But this is a simple full round trip with e-commerce. And of course, for B2B, you don't want to have a payment upfront typically. So it's a good example.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we will end up building or running. So how can I make it mine?
So there's two ways to get this boilerplates. The first one is obviously you can just go and clone the GitHub repository, which is here. And then we have another way, Crystallized. We have something called CLI Next.
It's called Next because we had the first one also.
Yeah, this is fancier. It does more than just install boilerplate, so you can import and export data to Crystallize and from Crystallize from here too. But for now, let's just install this. So this is the command you would use. I'm just gonna install it in a folder called Astro. And now it gives me options to choose from. So we have multiple boilerplates. So these two are the ones that contain, as Bård mentioned, all the proper checkout and payment methods. But for now, we'll just do the Astro one. And I'm just going to use our demo tenant because we have a lot of data there already. You can obviously create a new tenant and have your own existing tenant too. So right now, all it does is,
No, just saying, just for checking it out initially, just using the demo tenant is pretty nice, and then it's just up and running in a few seconds.
Yeah. So now it's installed. I'm just gonna cd into the folder and run. I'm gonna open it up in VS Code first. And then I will also run this. So now we have the boilerplate running here.
It's so quick with these JavaScript frameworks to get
Yeah.
everything up and running locally. I mean, compared to the way it used to be. Yeah, with other technologies, that's it's lovely.
Yep. Yep. So this is how the project will look in code. I just need to add some access tokens. So I'm going to do that now. Not on the main screen because I don't want my access tokens to get out.
Secrets.
Yep.
And of course, the access tokens, it's to be able to place orders, or if you have restricted the API in Crystallize, so you need access tokens to be able to do stuff.
Yeah. So we can go through the code structure a bit.
Could you zoom in and just a bit on the?
Yep. Is it better? Or?
That's perfect.
Yep. Okay. So the code structure is pretty simple. You have an assets folder that contains the logos. You have components that contains your components. And these are in React because Astro allows you to use any UI framework you prefer, or even multiple ones of them. So I'm just using React. And then we have the layout, which is the shared layout among all the pages. And then you have the pages directory, which contains all your pages. And it uses all the pages need to have the .astro extension, so you utilize the Astro templating system. And then we have
the routing in Astro. This is the first time I'm looking at Astro, so
yeah. It's very similar to how other frameworks do it. Yeah.
Yeah, like Nextdoor or SvelteKit has the same kind of setup.
Yeah. And then you have the use cases folder, which has your types, and it also has the queries and mutations you need to communicate to Crystallize. So this boilerplate only has one mutation, which is to create an order.
Yeah.
And then we have different queries to fetch the data from Crystallize. So front page data and product and every single product. So we can go through these queries briefly.
Yeah, we can. Should we start on the Crystallize side just to show the product there? So because that's the database, right? That's the source of information.
Yeah.
So here you have the product structure. It's pretty simple. It's a shop with 7 donuts, I believe. And that handles all of the pricing, the media. It's delivering the media on CDN and all of the marketing copy for the products. And once you've entered all of this, you can of course then you can also use the developer view in Crystallize to just play with queries here, and then this default query is fetching all the data. You should optimize your query because you just want to fetch exactly what you need. But it's a very easy access to all of the product information here, where you have from editing just switching directly to GraphQL and then optimizing the queries. So maybe we can just briefly look at the product query. We don't have to go through all of it, but just take some of it.
Yep. So this is an optimized query. It only fetches what you need. Technically, you can fetch all the components you have, but here I'm fetching only the components I need. So I just want the storytelling. We have the marketing content, so that's being fetched here. And then I want the brief description of the product, which I'm fetching here. And then we have some additional data that is specific to the product, such as the variants and the prices.
Yeah. And this is what you use to build that variant selector in the UI, right?
Yeah, yes.
Where you choose the size and how many donuts you want in the box.
Yeah. So Crystallize, those are just attributes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Perfect. And so we're fetching the query. You have that somewhere in memory in Astro. But how do you render it?
So let's take a look at the product page.
And this,
So
I guess,
this
is also the dynamic part here, where you have the curly brackets. I assume.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we have different products, and we're not going to create like a page for every single product we have. So this is what makes it dynamic. So I can get the param here and then just fetch data for that particular product. And it's pretty simple how you would display it. It's basically just components. So by default, Astro ships Node.js. But if you want to create more interactivity, or they have what they call island structure. This boilerplate, because it's minimal, is not using a lot of it. But here you see I have the client load directive, which adds more interactivity. So I want this product to be visible as soon as the client is loaded, and to be dynamic because I have the variant selector here and everything. So that's why I have the client load component here, client load directive here. You can have client idle and you can have client visible. So there's multiple directives that you can utilize.
And I guess this is pretty standard Tailwind styling that you have there, and it's exactly what you would do in React at this point, right?
Yeah, this is just React here. So the component I'm displaying here, rendering here, this the Crystallize product is here, and it's just basically React, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
So
and it's Tailwind styles
from let's say Next.js or just create React app, so to speak, the learning curve for Astro seems not to be that high.
Yeah, it's not. It's pretty easy. And you can, if you want to use Svelte or if you want to use Vue, you can do that just as easily. And yeah, deploying it is pretty easy too. This one is deployed on Vercel, so you just have to add the adapter to the config file, like I have here, and then that's it.
Nice. Okay, so that's kind of creating the product page with several components rendering this as business as usual, so to speak. And then we have the checkout, because now things are leveling up in terms of complexity a bit, I guess.
I wouldn't say they are, because, well, again, this is not, it's a fairly simple form component that you see here. That acts as our checkout form. So I can just go to, just gonna add something to cards. I see that the card icon, yeah. So this is just a simple form that I've rendered here. Pretty basic. And then once you click on Pay Now, you just call the order create endpoint, and then it creates the order for you.
And this is basically just taking the input from the cart, the products that you bought, and as a name. In this case, I guess there's no country validation or things like this. It just pushes what you And then finally, it's the mutation that just places this order in Crystallize, so that you can do the post-sales processing in there.
Yeah, and once it's created, we get redirected to the confirmation page, like we did. So I can create an order here. So once I do that and click Pay Now, it creates an order. And now if I go to Crystallize and go to orders, here's my order. So you can see the order in Crystallize, and you can fetch information about it and place it in pipelines and do other things.
Yeah, and the pipelines are typically post-sales. That's events that we manage and states in Crystallize. For example, to send it to warehousing service, or to have a different things happening post-sales depending on the type of product or the type of flow you have. So it's quite neat for post-sales orchestration. It's all API calls and webhooks. So, but that's not the topic of this live stream. But it's that's where you manage the post-sales side of things. Sweet. This is was pretty straightforward with Astro. The first time again me seeing it, we did the Svelte kit previously, which is also nice. One thing we have since this actually was created, we've released our shop API. So you probably want to use the shop API in Crystallize to manage the cart and the calculations and the persistence. It will make it even simpler for you. But right now, this is not part of the current thing that you're showing here. So I guess that's the round trip. On the shop API, we have 2 previous live streams the last weeks on deep dive on the shop API and also what we did previously with Daria, which was the full API round trip. So kind of what you saw here, but with the shop API without any front end, just on the API side of things, fetching, adding to cart, creating a cart or order intent, and then placing the order in Crystallize. Feel free to join our Slack community. You have Daria there, you have myself and the rest of the team. Happy to get any comments or feedback on the boilerplate. And I guess we'll see you in the next one.